I'm sure everybody bought himself or herself a pair of new jeans. First thing obviously is finding the right size, and after one basically finds something that fits and looks good, one notices that the jeans feel a bit uneasy, unnatural to the body. And after a certain amount of time, once one wears those jeans, and those jeans start sort of changing the shape and fitting the body much better, so basically one grows in those jeans, and those jeans grow on the person. Now, this is a crude analogy to what we experience in audio. Every time we use a new passive component inside the product, every time we upgrade or change something, one system component with another, say a DAC and a digital source, every time we change something in the system, this process starts to take place. It's like every time we change a jeans to a new one, or even used one, this jeans and feels a bit awkward to the body, but then everything grows together. Obviously we have people, audiophiles and music lovers, who not necessarily either familiar with this concept or don't believe in it. Then those people, without taking this into account, or even experienced aficionados, connoisseurs, audiophiles, music lovers, sometimes are even surprised by the effect of bedding in or running in. One needs to be patient, one needs to wait. One can't possibly just take something, say a capacitor or a resistor, change it there, oh, it sounds better, that's it. Now, once the material, the passive component starts to bed in, it changes the sound. And that change in sound and the characteristics that we can hear varies to the extent some of them least audible and some of them very audible. So one of those stories happened to me in the early stages when I was experimenting with different materials and components, circuit designs. When I started using first-time blackgate capacitors. This is a very extreme. This is a capacitor that works like a battery. They have some sort of character of their own and they change themselves, like the sound changes. I initially didn't like the sound at all. It was dark and it was dull. It lacked emotion, expression. It sounded like a very bad electrolytic capacitor. In the first couple of minutes it sounded like this. If you come back in a half an hour, it started sounding differently again. It started to gain a bit more immediacy. It became less dull. And if you came back 10 hours later, then you noticed that the low frequencies are now very pronounced and the high frequencies are not so well expressed. Air is still missing and dynamics are already improved. And if you came back a couple of days later, then you would be surprised how everything now sounds. Everything gained, like from something that was originally dull, dark and uninvolving sounding to something that is now became engaging, holographic, full of colors, vivid sounding. Once one experiences sort of evolution of the sound signature of one component like this, the world is no more the same. Other components evolve, there's more sort of continuity and consistency in how they evolve. If you leave the device switched off, all these gains in terms of immediacy, vividness, colorfulness, they start to go back. And the whole thing is basically like a living organism that changes, the sound signature changes over time. And the funny thing about this is a phenomenon that happens with everything. As long as the component is inside the circuit design, it changes and evolves itself all the time. I didn't know that it would bed in and it would change significantly or undergo a transformation. Basically, that would be akin to me judging the book by its cover. Oh, it looks like this, it sounds like that, off you go. One should never, in audio, evaluate something for a couple of seconds. Once one is aware of this and one takes this into account, one should be really patient about what's going to happen. You know, the recent show that we've been to, the Dutch audio event, we had a system playing in one building. It sounded one way. Then we had to disassemble the system, pack it, transport it. By the time it was transported, unpacked and installed in a different, at the exhibition, the sound changed again. The sound was totally different than when it was playing in the room of the distributor. So what does it tell you? Things change. There is a renewed time necessary until everything beds in and grows in together. And that was so evident that we wouldn't even be able to recognize the system. After a certain amount of time passed, overnight, it was switched on, it was playing, and it grew together, it bedded in. The next morning, the system was like transformed. It was like what we would remember how it's supposed to play. Everything that I mentioned so far about bedding in time, that is sort of a common knowledge. That's not textbook knowledge. You know, you will see this sort of knowledge being presented as a part of the recommendation from the manufacturer. One can observe it oneself, but it's not written in textbooks. So one needs to understand that a lot of things that we observe have an equal importance to measurements. No system component or material inside the system should be evaluated on a very short period of time. One only can evaluate something when the system has reached its equilibrium state. Then one can say, okay, things are sort of coming together. That's how it sounds.